Okay, before I start, I'm just introducing you to Palmo. He's not often allowed in this room, so he's just really enjoying himself. Hey! Sunning himself in the sun. He's an indoor cat, so he doesn't get much of that. Hey! Anyway, on to the eyeshadow declutter. I'm going to start with a few of my favourites and try and, because I already know I'm keeping them, so we'll just go with them straight away. So I'm trying to reduce my eyeshadow palette by about a quarter, I'd say, just simply because I don't use them, they're a waste me having. So the first palette is the Vice 2, and I love this palette. I love the formula of the eyeshadows, and one colour in particular is the Shell Shock from this range. So just look at that, that's just so stunning, it's beautiful. So I keep it mainly for that colour, but there are also some really stunning shades that I will always keep this. I love the formula of this and it can't go wrong. So the Vice 2 is staying.
Hell yeah!
Moving along, I have the Vice Reloaded, which is the most recent Vice palette. And again, it has some duplicates of the single eyeshadows like Twice Baked and Midnight Cowboy that I can see off the top of my head. But again, the formula, I love Midnight Cowboy. The formula of the Vice palettes are just beautiful. They're so creamy, they're so velvety, and they always win with me, regardless of the colour. There'll always be some colours in there that I will use, so we keep the Vice palettes. I hate this palette, and it hurts me because I love Urban Decay, and I love Urban Decay eyeshadows. I don't know why I hate this, I just do. I'm not sure if maybe it's the colours. The colours just really do not excite me whatsoever. They're just not colours that I'd really go for, or they're a bit too shimmery, that colour. It's just not for me. So that eyeshadow palette, the After Dark Urban Decay, is 100% going. It's gone. It angers me. Next up is the Urban Decay Moondust palette, and I love this formula so much. Of course, I had to go out and buy near enough all of the singles in the Moondust range because they're stunning. Who wouldn't? They're beautiful, and it really doesn't do it justice to how pretty these are. I'm holding the camera, so I can't really give you a swatch, but it's so pretty. Look at that. It's got like 2 tones to it, and if you wet it, just imagine that it's intensified by 2. So we are keeping the Moondust palette. I don't need to talk about Too Faced. I wouldn't have bought all 4 of them if I didn't love them. I even love the Peach palette that has so many mixed reviews, mainly because of the colouring of it. But although I haven't really used it that much, I love it. I still love it. Probably my least favourite Too Faced one is the Bonbon palette. It's probably just because it's more like, I don't know if they're more greys. They're just more dull to me. So I just don't reach for that one so much. But the one I do reach for is the Semi-Sweet chocolate bar, and I adore this colour. You can see it's nice and Max Fix Plus stained. I enjoy peanut butter colour. It's just stunning. It's beautiful. I love it just as it on its own. And this was the first palette I got. And again, I'm really into this. So probably the Semi-Sweet and the Dark are my 2 favourites. but because I'm a Too Faced fan, we keep all of them. Moving on to Naked 2 and 3. So these palettes were probably the first ones in my collection. And now I've experienced the Vice palettes, I can't stand these palettes. Just don't feel as luxurious as the Vice 2 and the Reloaded. They just, even the shimmers, they just seem more powdery, more chalky. I am not that much of a fan. The colour payoff I find for the Naked 3 is really poor. I'm not a fan, but for nostalgia reasons, we keep both of these. Don't know why, but we do. I don't use them, but we keep them because we love them. Moving on, I'll give you one that I do not like. So we are coming up to, this is more a contour palette, but it's still a palette, so we will just go with that. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. And I had the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette and I had to choose between the two, which ones I wanted to keep. I kept Kat Von D. I don't know why I kept Kat Von D because I really don't like it. I just find it really powdery. Maybe I'm just not a fan of powders, but anyway, that is going with After Dark in the Get Lost pile. Moving on is the BareMinerals Nude palette, and I don't feel like BareMinerals gets enough recognition for their palettes. I never really see that many out and about. This is in, what one is it? Oh, it's just nudes. I think I bought this shortly after I bought my Naked palettes, and I reach for it occasionally, but there's always a look I'd rather do in like a Too Faced or a Vice palette or something else that I just end up staying away from this, but for the sake I will keep it because it's a good palette. Moving on, the Marc Jacobs palette. It is beautiful. It is this 20 eyeshadow palette, and some of these colours are just stunning. But there's nothing in here that I wouldn't say I haven't got already. Even my favourite one, which is up here, it doesn't tell you the colour. This one up here is one of my favourites, but it's so like Midnight Cowboy that I thought I don't need it. I really don't need it, but you need to check this out because that is like an intense gold. Like I always thought that, good God, look at that. I always thought that the Urban Decays came out with like really vibrant golds until I saw that. That is so much, that is too much. But anyway, it's so like every other palette that I've got, it's got quite a few nudes in it. It's got like 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'd say 11 nudes out of 20 in this palette, but it's just not for me. It's just, it's too like everything else. It's too boring. It's too, yeah. So that is also going on the bye-bye pile. Moving on, Modern Renaissance, and loads of people love this for loads of different reasons. I love it for the raw sienna and the burnt orange. I don't tend to go up this side, so if it was a palette of just like 6 and it was those ones, I'd be quite happy with that. I do really like this like burnt orange raw sienna look, like combined together. These two shades are so like they're highlighters. They're just beautiful, they're stunning. So I am keeping that because I like a few colours. I'm keeping that. So keep pile, get rid of pile. It's not looking too good. Keep. Okay, moving on, full exposure. A really, really boring palette. That is how best to describe this palette. It is boring. You can make a great smoky eye with this. You can make a great smoky eye browns with this. So you've got your blacks and your browns. But it's just nothing great. It's just boring. So for that reason, full exposure is going bye-bye. Moving along is my MAC Self-Made palette, and I don't know, why I did this, but instead of buying loads of different colours that are like, I don't know, different, I went for loads of colours that I already have in all these palettes right here. So I went for a load of like browns, dark browns, and then to the reddish burgundy tones, and the only colour I have is the lilac one here. That is all I have. Everything else is just the same as everything else, but because it's so expensive and because it took me so long to do, I will be keeping my MAC Self-Made palette. So this is the Full Spectrum palette by Urban Decay, and though it's vibrant and colourful and different, I find these eyeshadows so chalky, just like the Urban Decay shadows in the Naked 2 and 3. I just get so excited when they get a new palette out because I think it's so different. And when I saw this, I thought, yeah, maybe like there's a lot of colours that I won't use, but also I didn't expect it to be so chalky. It generally, if you listen, it sounds bad when you're even swatching them. It just sounds dry. I'm really not a fan of this formula at all, and for that reason, Full Spectrum goes bye-bye again. Urban Decay Shadow Box, it's only a little one. It has some really pretty colours. I've really checked out Baked Cowboy quite a bit. Anyway, I just don't reach for it. I don't know why, it's just not something I go for. That mushroom colour is really nice. My hands are covered. Lovely. But yeah, that smog's really pretty. But there's nothing that I can't get in. I don't know why they're just stuck a black in that, because that's really disappointing. But yeah, I'm not a fan. So that is going as well. Next is just a couple of, I'm cheating a bit because there's two cheek palettes here, and one is the Benefit Cheekathon from last year, I believe. So it is this, but I never reach for it. And if you've got so many single blushes, you just don't reach for palettes, I find. You just think, oh no, I can't be bothered getting it out. So for that reason, that's gone. We also have the MAC Self-Made one, and I have two Mineralize and two cream ones here. This one is similar to the Marc Jacobs highlighter, which is like a cream. It comes in like an armpit body stick, and it's very similar to that. Then we just have four. This one broke over here, so I had to repress it. That was a sad day, and it still comes out the pan. But because they're so expensive, again, I will keep them. We have a Tarte palette, and Tarte, we're borderline in exactly the same view as the Urban Decay Spectrum palette in regards to formula. I find these really drying, really just crap, really. So many similar shades. Like, to me, this shade here looks just like this shade. You've just got so many similar. This Mosaic and On the Monet look exactly the same, and Illusion, like, it's just a boring palette. It's just really, like, I don't like palettes that just don't wow me, I suppose. So for that reason, Tarte is going by as well. Nearly finished. Lastly, no, second from last, is the Stila palette, and this is beautiful. I have never touched these because it's the same. I'm too lazy. I think, why open an eyeshadow palette to use blushes? I just automatically go in my blush drawer for blushes. But this colour here, and they don't tell you the name, but gosh, it is, I'm running out of hands again. It is so pretty that I keep this palette. But other than that, everything's not really been touched, and I don't think I've even actually used this colour. I just tend to swatch it because it's pretty. So we will stick that in the maybe pile for now and go off of that. Now is lastly, it is the Kat Von D, saying this Can I just show you what it's called instead? Chiralysis salalysis. Yeah, it's that. That's the name of it right there. Chiralysis. So we will go with that. Anyway, this is what that looks like, and I think there's one colour in there that I like. I mean, again, this is quite like the tinsel shade. This one here is super pretty, but it's not enough for me to keep this colour. I mean, my eye colour, my eye colour really suits like purples and burgundies. I've got like hazel eyes and it really like stands out, whereas brown eyes, I can't really use this section here because it just doesn't suit me. It doesn't do me justice. So I would only use this shade, and I have those shades, and there's nothing special about this. And they've copied Too Faced doing these big high, I don't know what they are they even? Are they just like big eyeshadows? Am I meant to use them as highlighters? What do you want me to do with them? So yeah, so for that reason, not just for the big eyeshadow reason, but for that reason, that is going also. So here we have it. This is what is staying. And also the Vices, which are up there. But these are staying, and these are all leaving home. They'll find somewhere else to live. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and thank you for watching. And give me a second and Palmer will say goodbye. Maybe he won't say goodbye. Palmer! Oh, there's movement. Palmer! Palmer! Hey! You gonna say goodbye? He's not really interested. Oh dear. I think he's pooped. He's not interested. Palmer says goodbye. Thank you for watching.